Hello, everyone, and welcome to Play Dicely After Party. My name is Christy Clow, and my beautiful cast and wonderful DM are here today to discuss the most recent episode of Play Dicely, episode 19, Beautiful Skies, Too Many Pies. Let us begin. First, I do have a couple of questions from the previous after party that I set aside for Anthony because he couldn't be here. So I'm just going to do those to get them out of the way. Not that I'm not curious about your opinion, just so I don't forget. So the day after the events of the trial, Drac presented the group with bracelets for us to wear to signify our bond. Drac seemed surprised that mostly everyone put the bracelets on right away. Was he expecting a different reaction from the group?
Yeah, he didn't expect anyone to put one on because he doesn't believe that they're a united group either. Yeah, he definitely feels like this is a stepping stone to becoming something more united. And this is him just kind of showing that, he's invested in this group and he wants them to succeed together. And he knows there's a lot of work to be done to get there.
It's interesting because I feel like we are slowly kind of getting more to that point as a group. Like, I think we still have to have our discussion about like group tactics, but we're definitely getting there. And like, we've planned out like everyone has a potion now and like, how is it going to go down? Like, who's the fastest, or like, oh, if Abe's in like a state, who's going to take up that slack? So it's going to be interesting to see once we get into combat, I guess, next episode when that dragon appears, how that's all going to shake out. And then my only other question for you is, how is Drac feeling about the potential arrival of Baz? Because we kind of talked about it a little like in game yesterday, but we haven't actually gotten there yet. So
he's very excited. He's cautiously also, he's a little bit cautious too about getting his hopes up too much, because his journey so far has taught him that things are not what they seem, and just because he heard of Baz going one way doesn't mean he's coming back. So I don't know, he might get sad. It might be very sad.
Oh no.
I think it's a guarantee with this campaign that it will probably be sad either way. Because at this point, like, if he had, like, what if he continued east, and he doesn't come back
for whatever
like,
reason.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Looking forward to it.
How long has it been since you saw him? I'm sure you've said this.
Like 2 years, I think.
2 years.
Yeah.
All right, so this week's episode started with Gideon asking Abe on his thoughts on Shandier Merrymiss and how trustworthy he seemed. Ryan, does Gideon have any particular fears or like ideas of why he might be listed as a person of interest?
His main theory is sort of stemming from like, after finding out that he was the host of something, that's been sort of driving every thought process. So like, okay, he's a person of interest. Okay. Probably because of what's like in his body. So what could that have been used for? And then now he's like, okay, I don't really understand magic that well, but I know that it's crazy powerful. So what if somebody managed to actually use this thing properly, unlike me, and through me basically use that power for something that I probably wasn't even wanting it to be used for. That's his first thought, but now he's like, okay, I'm a person of interest, which means people will probably be looking for me, which is compounded later in the episode.
Yeah, I might actually just jump down to that other part where we learned some more information. So when you went to the Shandier's office, he basically said that it seems like those records are likely fake that you found in the library, that there was never, is it a didact? Is that the... Yeah, there was never a didact in Balesville, and there was no record of you training. So,
yeah, I'm a little bit sus of that man now. Not gonna lie, I think I just told a very powerful wizard my darkest secret.
It's interesting that you're now like suspicious of him, because I'm almost wondering like, why are you not suspicious of like someone potentially like putting these records into the library? Or like that being perhaps the thing that's gone wrong.
Well, I'm sus of everybody, to be honest. Gideon is sus of literally everybody, minus the group. He's not doing too hot right now. I wrote down in my notes
Clearly.
like
Yes,
the pre-session notes, basically to say like where Gideon is. I wrote basically Gideon is paranoid today. He is losing his collective shit today. So the dice rolls in the encounter with Patience were perfect. So when I saw those, I just doubled down on my like facade that he's putting up. But basically, yeah, he's not doing too hot right now. He's super paranoid. And being a person of interest thing, like, well, if again, he doesn't even know if Marimus is telling the truth. He could be, in which case, he's not a person of interest anymore, so he can stop worrying about that. But if he's not, then now Marimus is a problem, and it's all problematic.
Yeah.
He's a big what ifer, you know?
Yeah, I get that. But it's almost like too, like, if Marimus is telling the truth, then it means that you potentially were never a person of interest and have never actually come up on the radar of the Arcanet at all. So, just think, it leads a lot of questions.
It's just also like if somebody were planting records, right? Like if somebody had this idea to plant a record, why Gideon?
As
Like
the
Gideon's
fantastic DM to continuously stir the pot in this campaign, what if both were true?
Oh,
And that is also true.
rude.
What if Gideon has a doppelganger who attended this school?
Don't say it.
Oh,
I can't with the whole doppelganger thing.
that would make so much sense. Oh God,
Oh no.
if there's another one of him running around with fucking mithril coat, I swear to God,
Might be.
but I got the mark, bitch.
Theory
Fuck
from
you.
last night. It's all multiple timelines. This is Dicely in the multiverse now.
Yep. I'm assuming that if there is another doppelganger of Gideon out there, that the mark can't be replicated. So that would be something to keep in mind if that does happen. I'm just really
Before I
excited.
shoot a Gideon.
Yeah. Before you shoot a Gideon, see if
Take
he
off your
has the
shirt.
mark. Take off your goddamn shirt.
It's so weird. I feel like this like whole doppelganger thing is like forbidden knowledge that's constantly in the back of my mind, because I'm like, it is meta information. Like, I as a character, and I think most of us in character don't really know about the whole doppelganger thing because that was from the previous campaign. But it would make so much sense for a lot of different things that are happening, and it's just like, oh, I want to know if there's going to be like a grand
I mean,
reveal.
all of Balesville could probably be explained by doppelgangers.
Well, that's Logan's theory, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's my theory, is that it's all the doppelgangers. Doppelgangers all the way down.
I'm super stoked for the doppelganger
The
unraveling.
houses are doppelgangers.
Yeah.
But I also want to
No, the
see
houses are mimics.
why
It's a
there
whole
were
village
stars.
of mimics and doppelgangers.
I also want to know why those bugs were there, why there were like meteor showers happening, why there was an earthquake. Like it was just like, just all the bad things just happened.
But did all those things actually happen, or is that just what people remember?
No.
I have a question because I forget either from Teni or the other members of that previous campaign. Was there ever an explanation for why all of the doppelganger stuff was happening?
I don't think so.
I think they
Not
decided
that
to
I can
skip
think
that
of.
storyline and investigation and just continued on with the main plot.
Yeah.
So that
Yep.
would explain a lot of why it might be something that comes back in this campaign.
Oh,
If
I
he's like, this
see.
is a cool hook and no one fucking followed it.
Cardrak very well might not have been an issue at all in this campaign had they followed through.
Way to go,
neat.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Way to
Well,
freaking
you know,
go.
if Arturo's told me to disintegrate him, I would have disintegrated him, but it never came up, so
Yep.
God blames Dad.
We were too busy trying to save the surface.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a
Remember,
bit of
all right? A little
What's-
busy.
What's another side quest between friends? Come on, just throw it on there. It's all good.
I think there were like three, side things that Denny had for us last time that we didn't follow, and there'll be hundreds this time.
Yep.
I'm such a completionist that even though people have like you guys have said like, oh, we're not going to make it to every spot on the map and we may not be able to pursue every thread. I'm like, no, we will.
Watch
It's
me.
gonna happen.
I refuse to entertain any other belief.
We just have to get a means of teleportation.
Oh, God, I miss being a wizard
then we're
for that.
set.
Yeah. We need like we don't have one person that's full magic, right? Like you're
I'm
warlock.
full magic.
Halloween.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know, warlocks I guess
Warlocks?
like aren't quite.
It's not like you would use a warlock as your teleportation source, right? Well, I guess
Yeah.
You
Can
could.
I
I-
learn teleportation?
I might
Is it
have
just-
added it actually to your list of added on for the subclass, maybe like teleportation circle.
Maybe.
But you don't get access to 5th level spell slots until like way later. And I mean, if that is in fact part of your subclass, which I should just pull that up. I've got that. here.
Teleportation circle is, yeah.
Damn, I'm so glad I added
Look
that
at
to that
you.
list. I mean, you could teleport and then take a short rest.
Yeah.
Whoa,
That
that would
is
be
5th
fucking
level, yeah.
dope.
That is neat.
The only thing is like
Limited though if it's teleportation circle.
yeah,
Yeah,
you have
you
to
can only-
Yes.
find the corresponding circles in different places.
You need that chalk.
Yeah, I think even like in our home game where I play Wizard, I only know, I think I know 2, but the extra one I knew is in a city that got freaking destroyed. So I don't think that one probably is valid anymore. So I would assume
Well-
as much.
Logan, the player, knows where there's one underground. So if we want to go underground to find you a circle,
Oh, I do kind of hope that we go underground at some point. Like I feel like there's a good chance of it because is it known in the lore like did any of like the underground cities and stuff survive? Like are any still functioning or is everything on the surface again now? Other than like at Dunein Mountains, for instance, like people who are dark elves and like subterranean races.
For the most part, a lot of those subterranean cities were either abandoned or anybody who did, for example, go back looking for Starshire, which was the main settlement of the last campaign. Like their entrance was like walled up. Basically, it no longer existed.
Interesting. Okay.
You learned though that it's still there, and
Did
like
we?
people still live there. I feel like we learned that, didn't we?
I feel like it's
The lore?
presumed.
Yeah, I think you
I
guys
always
kind of
assumed they rolled
theorized that.
themselves in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that coming up like in canon, so as far as I'm aware at least. Anywho, that was a great tangent. So next in the episode, we took some time to regroup after receiving our extremely generous gifts from the Chandier and Reeve Grand. And then the boys headed out for a day on the town to upgrade Gideon's gun and to see if our best friend Steve the blacksmith could make bracers from the crown of the Silver Maw. Anthony, I know you are very pumped, but how pumped is Drac about these bracers?
He is very pumped. He finally has a trophy to wear.
I'm glad that it paid off, you carrying that thing around for so long. What do you think you're going to do with Tremor Sense?
So much. There's so many shenanigans that can happen now.
Like what?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll figure
please
it out.
enlighten me. So I
So
can be
many
better
things.
prepared.
I'm not gonna.
He could just put on a blindfold and still fight. Like that's pretty cool.
That
That's
is
pretty
actually
neat.
true. I could do that.
Cool intimidation tactic, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the fog
Just-
cloud is going to be great too. Fog
Yeah.
cloud tremor sense. That's
Mhm.
gold.
I mean, when we were talking about like what you wanted to do with these things, that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, he cast that fog cloud, he couldn't see. I was like, if he had tremor sense, this would be great to pair with that spell. So I was like, you know what? I'll give him the tremor sense. If I need to foil him, I'll just throw flying things at the party.
There you go.
I think that foils a lot of us actually.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I got this
Not
big
me.
ass crossbow now. I'll take care of the flying stuff.
There
Yeah,
you
I can
go.
shoot range.
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah,
I'll
and then
shoot
Gideon's
some
got to
birds.
My luck has
Yeah.
moved on to Ryan, as we found out in this
Yeah,
past
that's
episode.
true.
Yes.
so-
You're now like distinctly average. You're good.
Yeah. I got like 2-3 crits.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I got like 3 or 4 crit fails.
Look, everyone has to take their place in the spotlight and everyone has to take their space on the bench. And right now that's you, Ryan. So
It's all good.
you,
Honestly, I make the most of the bench. I've been on the bench my whole D&D life with dice and rolls. So I have to role play for everything I want. That's why I do what I do. Because the dice, I can't trust them.
it's fair. Maybe you just need to like do some new like dice rituals or something, you know, because they can probably sense your attitude towards them, and they're like, well, why would we help you out, right?
True.
So
You'll be a bit more humble, maybe.
I'm perfectly humble. I expect to fail every check I roll. There's no ego about it.
Cool. Well, the boys, TM, ran their errands. Azaria stayed at the inn to examine the steampunk briefcase. Logan, with the recent reveal that Rhea might be able to have some minor magical abilities, do you feel like you're leaning towards a level in Artificer?
Yeah, that was kind of why I was like, oh, maybe I'll start examining this. And this was also when Elowen talked to them. Like, they've been thinking maybe this whole druid thing is like they've just tried too hard to be something they aren't. But then when I had the conversation with Maramus, and I'm like, fuck, everyone at my job thinks I'm a druid. Maybe I do need to take this level to keep my employment. So we'll find out. We'll find out whenever I decide how magic happens. I'm gonna experiment, dabble.
Do you even have employment right now, though?
I don't know.
Exactly. So who cares?
Well, you know, that's an interesting discussion to have too. It's like, what is being a druid? Is it the magic, or is it like a way of life? Is it the culture?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm doing good at that way of
I
life.
was gonna
either.
say that
Well,
you're
I
gonna
mean-
fuck that one up also.
Everyone made me feel really bad. I was like, guess I gotta come back to life.
Well, I mean, you've been living this way for at least 50 years, so if you could fake it for 50 years, you're probably set.
True.
So did we know that Azaria was a didact? I wrote that down as if it was new information to me, but I guess I might just
Yeah,
have
we
not.
did.
Like,
Um,
I think
I
I only
knew.
realized what the term was.
No, we knew
Like,
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause,
Elowen definitely would have known.
But we knew because you had to be with us in the library because you were dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I've only really registered that term in the last 2 episodes for some reason, and if it had been said earlier, it just went over my head, and I was like, I don't know what that is. And then
Again, it's because I have the Arcanet doc that lists all of these things. It's the only reason I understand anything.
Gotcha. I'm like so greedy. I want to get my hands on that purely for my own comprehension of things that are being said, because I'm like, I feel really lost. But it's like, it makes sense for now. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll just deal with it, I guess. But
when the campaign's over, I will give you everything.
I
That's
really
a very
hope
good
so.
doc.
I'll
I
see
like
you
that
in
one a lot.
5 years, I guess.
Yeah. If we go based on how we're leveling up so far.
Yeah, the speed at which we move through episodes.
It is weird to think that, like, at this point in, like, the last campaign, it was like, oh boy, we had done so much in the world, and now I'm like, in this one, I'm like, I still feel like a little baby exploring everything.
Well, the world's a lot bigger now.
Yeah, the world is actually a world.
Yeah.
We're not stuck underground.
Yeah, it was 21 sessions. We were at 19 at this last stream, so huge difference.
That's insane.
And the last session was fucking wild. I don't
Well,
even know. Like, dude, I don't even know. That was crazy.
Well, overall, you guys had less players, right?
It kind of yo-yoed a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Started 3, ended up with a bunch. Then 1 left during the last session because he was sick.
Oh, that
Cool.
sucks. But then you also had a few like longer sessions too, right? Or am I imagining that?
Yes,
Not
That's
of
like
true.
a
course.
12-hour or
The
something.
last session was like 14 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely had some, like, oh, we started in the morning and left Adam's house at midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think by the end of the campaign, we had the same number of players.
I think so.
Okay, damn.
Because it
Oh.
was you three along the bottom there, Adam, Ryan, and Logan. And we also had Jason, Adam Macqua, and Nick.
Yep.
Right.
True. Well, then I don't know why we move so slow.
You guys like to
We like-
roleplay it a lot more.
We talk
Yeah.
a lot.
We have
Yeah, I
a
think
lot
we-
of feelings.
We get into the
Yeah,
meat
we
of it
talk
a lot, I think.
lot. I think our last group, we were like, just
I-
very like,
I barely
objective,
roleplayed.
go to the objective. New objective, go to the objective. Try and sell salt as a drug.
Okay.
It happened.
That
I
legit.
believe you.
Successfully?
Yes.
All right. Well,
There was
Um,
actually a really large portion that we just tried to sell salt.
why?
It was unfortunately. This is getting way off track, but this was like a mini objective that basically led them to a main plot thing. And they're like, we really need to deal with this salt.
The doppelgangers, forget them.
Yeah,
The
who
salt,
cares?
though.
We didn't know about them yet, at least. As an
Alright.
excuse.
Out of curiosity, I feel like Logan and Ryan, you guys have like done kind of like role play heavy campaigns before. Yes. So then, Adam, is this kind of your first like really role play heavy campaign that you've been in?
I would say so. For how much of D&D has like occupied my life, I've not actually played much. I think I've only had 2 characters in 5th edition that have lasted more than like a couple of sessions.
Whoa.
Or maybe
Actually, yeah.
3.
No, I guess mine technically is the same too. I've had a lot of like one-shot characters, but
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
other than Denny's campaign, I also have just DM'd more than I've played. But I think Abe is probably the character that I've role played with the most. And like that was one of my core objectives with him.
Mhm.
Um,
do you find yourself enjoying doing like a more role play heavy game?
the short answer is yes. The long answer is I'm like, oh man, it's 10 o'clock, but I really want to say this thing and have this role play moment.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yes,
Yeah.
big time.
Like, oh no,
Watching
we've
the
been-
clock. Oh, is there time for this conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
always.
8:30. We're about to go on break, but
Yeah, I think that is a hard thing of trying to balance because you want it to feel because we're filming it, like you want it to feel
Yeah.
like we're still kind of like moving things along, but there's so many things I constantly like want to be asking people and talking about, which is actually a fantastic segue into the next thing I had to talk about, which is Nell and Elowin's conversation when we were out getting potions. Because Dallas, you messaged me right after. I forgot what you said, something about like how like you weren't expecting me to like make that comment about like wanting a family or whatever.
Yeah,
Right.
you threw me for a bit of a loop there, because that's the character. That's Elowin. That is like the core, like hopes and dreams of Elowin. And I was thinking about it over the break, where I was like, we're 18 sessions in, and I don't feel like anyone in this group knows Elowin. Like, you all know that I don't want to be a child, but no one knows why. This has never come up. And so I've been thinking about like, how do I like actually bring this in? And then just you were like, hey, what are your hopes and dreams? And I was like, oh, okay, here we are. Hello, welcome.
And the thing is I genuinely have had that note written in like down under like things to do since I think that must have been the second episode when
Yeah.
that couple, like you made that comment of being like not a fan, and I asked you for clarification and you said, yeah, like not a fan. And I wrote it down. And I think like in that moment, I did see exactly like what the character was because it made so much sense to me. It's like, you're a grown adult trapped for 300 years in this body. Like, what other possible like situation could there be really? Like, especially like having such like a visceral reaction to it. So it's just like one of those things that I'm like, it feels weird to just kind of shoehorn it in places, but it felt like kind of more natural having just done like a bit more research and like we're all feeling a bit more familiar with each other having been in Valambridge now. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I texted you afterwards. I was like, you called Elowin out so hard. You stared right into my soul and asked me the right questions. Wild. Yeah, no, very exciting.
I love that scene. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, finally, let's get to know Elowin.
Yeah.
It was very touching.
It's really interesting to see kind of where that's gonna go. I don't know. Like, I'm sorry, obviously very invested in everyone's story, but like it's cool to like peel back the layers of someone like Elowin who is very, I think, closed off doesn't seem quite right, but like there's like a sense of like self-isolation there, I think, you know, like to make yourself feel safer. So
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I'm very stressed about the future of Elowen. I look into the future and I don't know how this plays out well for her, to be honest. We'll see.
'Cause I guess
Bart.
Go ahead.
Which part doesn't play it well?
Well, I can't imagine that we ever get to a point where Deni's like, here you go, break the curse, no strings attached, you know? I just can't imagine that's gonna happen. And I don't know how I'm ever gonna like be able to make a choice, like a hard choice between breaking this curse and not breaking this curse. I don't know how it goes either way. I don't see how this ends up good for her.
Can I give a semi-major spoiler from the campaign 2 of Critical Role that feels relevant?
Yeah, do her.
So for those of you who don't know, Sam Riegel played a character who was a goblin, but the whole premise of the character was like they were actually a halfling that kind of, I don't really know if they got cursed or like kind of like reincarnated essentially like in this goblin body.
It was kind of like both of that.
Yeah, a little bit of both, I think. So the whole like point of the character was them trying to find a way to reverse it, and eventually like they do. Like it takes like a significant amount of time and like trial and like magical investigation, but then for like the second half of the campaign, like not the goblin became Veth the halfling, their original body, and it was really interesting to see. So like I wouldn't say it's entirely out of the cards. Like it's so interesting to see like how these things could play out, right?
True.
Because
Yeah.
my curiosity with it is like, regardless of like strings attached, like we'll put that to the side because we don't know yet how it's going to be, but either it's you, I feel like there's a few different options. Either you just like you come into the body that would be at the age that you're at, or perhaps like minus a couple hundred years, or do you come in to the body and you're like 9 again, you know, like
Well, yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know. Oh, we're a little choppy here.
mhm.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I really don't know what the answer to that question is, right? I mean, I don't think Elowen knows. And I think that's part of like when we were talking about when people got aged in the library as well, I was very stressed about the idea of aging as well, because I don't like, she's getting close to like the end of her like proper lifespan anyways. And I don't know what happens when I hit that point. Or if I hit that point and then turn back into an adult, am I just dead immediately? Like, I don't know. So I feel like there's a lot of like time constraints that Elowen is also feeling.
Oh, it'd be so interesting. I don't obviously want this to happen for your sake, but if it was like one of those things where like something terrible happened and we had to do like a true resurrection or a reincarnate or something, like what that would potentially like look like, you know? I guess reincarnate maybe more than true resurrection, because it might just like be like the 9-year-old body again, but
Different race.
yeah. Well, reincarnate would be a different race.
Mm-hmm.
True resurrection is the same body. Reincarnate is like you roll a dice and you can end up as a different playable race. So
Very interesting.
it's so interesting. You're just like a little orc or something.
Oh, God.
Becomes a baby bird.
No, it has to be a playable race. So it can't just be like a,
Eric Crocker.
Yeah,
Kenku.
or Kenku.
Kenku.
oh, I would love, it would just be like the one from Critical Role, but
Yeah.
she's so cute. So I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah. I thought it was funny during the art stream the other day. I think Peter was in chat and they were talking about Abe. And they were like, oh, wouldn't it be cute if there were little Abe babies? It's such a shame he can't have babies. And I was sitting there and I was like, I fucking hate you, Peter. Like, yeah, wouldn't that be so sad? Poor Abe. Whatever.
Yeah, true.
We love
But I mean,
our
Abe
fan
is the
base.
cutest stuff.
I do. I don't
love
mean
our
it. I was
fans.
just like sitting there sulking for Elowen's sake.
I get that. Well,
But if
actually-
any of these characters were to have cute, adorable babies, I mean, Abe.
Yeah.
Tell me more about how cute and adorable his babies would be.
A little baby Abe whose eyes just flash red, and then he rips someone's spine out, you know?
Yeah.
That would be so adorable, right?
It reminds me of a joke that a comedian once told of, like, you know, the big like trailer announcer guy, like, coming this summer. It's like he has his kids and they're like, hello daddy, we are going to announce a movie. That's what the kids would be, just like these deep voice, like
They
mini.
just have the
Hello,
same
Daddy.
voice.
I would love that.
Father,
Please.
I wonder, that brings up a question, I
Crave
guess, for like,
sustenance.
for Argan folk, and then on the grander screen, like just like Warforged in general, like, are there ever any, like, I guess people could roleplay it as they want, but like any like anyone who plays it as like, oh, I wish I could like have a family, you know, because I guess they are just mechanical, right?
I haven't played one, but I have an NPC that I've made that basically is one that built a family for himself. Like he
In like a workshop, like Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. Like he built other Warforged to be like to create a family, basically.
Aw.
Yeah, because that's the thing with Warforged, is they're kind of like, they are constructed beings. Like, if you know the proper magic and the proper techniques, I guess, you could build a Warforged. Whereas Argan folk are kind of different in that they were created. Like, these are not things that you're going to be able to replicate without like supreme divine magic.
Oh.
write that down.
That brings up an interesting thing too that we were talking about in the last after party about how we learned that some Arcan folk have memories of their past lives, right? What if like they had kids or something? I guess would they still be alive and they come back and they're like 50 or something? I'm just thinking about how sad this all is. It's playing like an Arcan folk. Anyways, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole any further unless I die and come back and I'll play an Argan folk character or something.
Bobo Nell.
Not a Nell necessarily, but just like
Not if I die first and come back as Papa Amdus, all right?
No one else knows what it is.
Hopefully.
Do you want me to? Okay. For the audience's sake, I'll just say I have 25 unique NPCs that I came up with for my village and family, just because I wanted to make Teni's life god awful. And Ryan is really attached to the grandfather character and has decided if he dies, he'll be my grandpa. So it's gonna be a good time.
Not that I want Gideon to die, but I do really want to see that.
I want to
Oh,
meet
it'd be
this
like a-
character.
I feel like Iroh.
I have already thought about like the dynamic between him and everyone else.
I love
And
it.
I don't know if any of you have heard of the character Braum from League of Legends, but he is basically Braum.
Was he an Arcane?
No, I wish
Okay.
he was though. He's this
That's my
big,
only hope.
strapping, bald man with a huge mustache, and he's just the most wholesome man on the planet.
That's nice. I'm basically thinking of Uncle Iroh. So, 'cause
Yeah, kinda.
I love him, which is great because I truly had I didn't really think of anything. I just was kind of making character names and like a family tree. So,
Teni
Yeah.
will figure the rest of this out.
yep. Anywho, at DNR Solutions, Gideon met Patience, a renowned bounty hunter that seemingly had no time for Gideon's shit.
Yep.
After his kind of galaxy brain evening realization that she knew his name before he gave it to her, what are Gideon's primary concerns right now? And do you think that she is connected to Balesville?
I have a sneaking suspicion that she is. But jeez. Before I jump into this, you ever have one of those moments when you're in a conversation with an NPC and you look at your character sheet, specifically the flaw section, and you have an "oh fuck" moment? That's what happened to me. Because the first flaw in my sheet is I hate being on the losing end of a deal. I really, really hate it. So when she was like, oh, well, that's 85 now, I just looked at my sheet and was like, uh-oh.
I admire your commitment to just taking a flaw like to the extreme. I've seen it a few times, and every time I'm like, Gideon, relax. But it's really interesting to see.
Yeah,
I rewatched that scene earlier today and I died the whole way through. It's so funny. She fucks you up so badly.
Oh, she fucked me up, dude.
I love her. I'm sad I didn't get to meet her because she sounds cool as fuck. So this whole time,
Oh, she's so cool.
that
She's one of my
conversation, I
favorites.
was like rooting for her because I was just like, I don't know. I thought it was funny to see someone kind of like push Gideon around.
Her kind of demeanor actually reminds me of my character from the last campaign. He was a private investigator / like a bounty hunter, and he was just the same. Like he was very much so no nonsense. Like just shut the hell up and let me show you how this works. And that was like maybe there's a link there, but I don't know. Because if there is, then that would make the very, very thin sort of line that leads to Balesville makes sense to me. But yeah, it's sort of like that'd be cool if she is from Balesville.
My theory brain just went into overdrive super fast. How old would your former character's daughter be?
Probably about 59, 58.
And I feel like Teni said that she was in her early
50s
60s
or something.
We had this conversation during break.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I had my headphones off. Oh, I'm gonna add that to the theory page in the group lore doc. That would be because the whole thing, it's like they didn't actually have a diadact, but you had a name. Did you ever meet this woman when
I don't know.
You can't remember.
She also knew my name.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, does Gideon have the memory of ever meeting what's the first name?
Elia.
Elia?
Elia. Okay. Yeah. Did he ever meet Elia?
Not that he knows of.
Oh shit. This one feels correct to me. I'm gonna write it down so fast. I'm super excited.
And clearly,
This one.
Patience has some kind of magic because she knew we were coming back inside.
Yep.
Well, and she talked about his
Well,
like
she's-
baby magic too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, this is so exciting. Okay. I love theories.
I was
So
gonna
good.
say, I love
narrowing
this.
my eyes at Teni right now.
Yeah, although Logan had another really cool theory last night about
What was it?
patience that kind of blew me away. Go ahead, Logan.
Oh, my theory was because I just love thinking about Balesville. I was like, what on earth is Balesville? This is a fucking mystery, and I want to know all about it. And I was like, okay, everyone has all these different, like the event. There's like all these different tellings of what happened and what people saw and experienced and whatnot. And I was like, what if and why Ryan has there's some information of him studying with the Arcanet Institute and some that isn't. Is like, what if this Balesville event was, not jokingly, the Dicely multiverse converging thing? There's like 20 different Balesvilles that happen, and people from one ended up here and another ended up there, and like that's the people who are missing or just somewhere else. I'm like, what if this Patience, though, the reason that like she knows Gideon is that with all this time stuff, she's like one of Gideon's like siblings or something from another timeline.
Whoa. Or if she is like either like Elia or even just herself, but she's from a timeline where like Gideon genuinely was like the epicenter of the incident or something, and so she's like taking revenge, like Reaper style. Or wait, what? Looper. Is that the movie? Whatever. Do you guys know, I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's big on Reddit. There's that theory of like if you die in a timeline, you just bounce to like a new reality. Like I think it's like quantum death theory or something. Like could be
Dope.
interesting. Yeah. So it's like, so you just like end up in like an alternate reality where that like moment happens slightly differently. And so it's like, oh, everything seems the same, but maybe you might notice like a kind of a different little things. Like there's like the glitch in the Matrix Reddit. Anyways.
That
I'm not gonna
terrifies me immensely because I feel like I have moments like that and I'm like, today's not the day I died. So this is just like blowing my mind.
I can get into this with you at a different point, like after we stop recording, Teni, because I have like I read a lot of this stuff before I go to bed because it's just interesting to me. So if you want to get into some of it, we will. I'm gonna put it on the back burner
thanks
for
for
now.
a new character idea. Azaria dies. What comes back is different Azaria.
Ooh,
What
Yeah.
if that's why I can use magic?
I'm Lord Azaria.
Just a little
Stop
bit.
this.
Oh, this is so cool. Okay, we are for sure gonna actually have this conversation after. I just don't want to derail the show anymore. Dallas and Logan, do you guys want to talk a little bit about the conversation that Elwyn and Azaria had finally about the resurrection and how they were feeling about it, and how Rhea confided a little bit about what they learned about void energy creatures, whatever those might be?
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. It kind of reminded me of like the Alumbrites, what we've heard about them as well, and their like neutral energy versus negative. Although I suppose maybe that's more from good to evil. I'm not sure.
I think like my understanding is there's like positive energy, which is like life and stuff. And there's negative energy, which is this void, and I guess neutral would be in the middle. Am I full of evil energy? Like if positive energy is the good energy of life. So I will say there is like part of Rhea's like, you know, researcher brain is like, but should I focus on learning how to use this thing inside me? Is this a bad idea? Am I unlocking Pandora's box here?
Let's all unlock Pandora's box together.
And we all kind of could in different ways, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Dallas has the ability to launch 2 different terrifying deities onto the planet. Abe's got Maladin going on. Balesville. I don't know really what Drax would be. That tin dragon, who knows what that is, right? That sculpture, it's probably evil. Who cares? Yeah.
Clearly, my god hears me when I talk, so because he just like is thundering and lightning at me whenever I ask. So
And what are lightning rods made out of?
metal.
Tin?
Metal. And that statue
Metallic
was-
dragons?
Yeah,
Okay.
wasn't that statue made out of metal? Am I putting together pieces that don't actually fit? I don't think so.
Add it to the lore doc.
I'm gonna crack this whole campaign wide open with all of my stupid theories. Maladin's a bird. Dragon is a lightning rod. Come on, people. Let's keep up here.
Wow, you have simplified me and my brain so far down. It's just
Teni's
this
like,
is a
what if-
this.
What
This
if
is a
thing
this.
was something else? Done. Period. Send. It's that easy to be a DM, folks.
If you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, you'll get it right eventually.
Another thing about that conversation, I brought up the thing with Nothics as well with Logan, and that was the thing that I don't know. That was truly me asking Logan if I was reading too much into something. I really am not sure what I'm doing anymore, but that was a moment that I truly, like, you gave me this information, and I don't know if I just didn't read it, but it was only when I was like going back through my notes as I was like reorganizing all my docs, I reread that whole section, and I like the phrase like they're cursed creatures who are seeking knowledge, forbidden knowledge, and ascending to godhood. Freaked me the fuck out when I read it. I like truly like gasped out loud, and I was talking to my brother, and I was like, Quentin, read this! And he was like, I don't know what's going on. And I was like, no, this is important.
Well, it's interesting because as you were having that scene, I was having the kind of similar thoughts too, because it seems like the parts of that statement could apply to both the stranger and to Valela.
Right. And that's what concerns and confuses me. Like, every point under there made some sense to something, but I'm not sure if I'm reaching with the stranger. It does feel like feels like there's enough there that something's relevant, but I'm not sure what.
What if the stranger is Valela?
I was about to say
No, that doesn't make sense,
was
right?
just about
That
to
doesn't make
say
sense.
that.
How can that be?
Because it's like, okay, like you've like kind of stumbled across them again, so desperate from this curse, and all they want is to ascend to godhood. So they're like,
No.
okay, yeah, I'll help you find the stranger. You help me too, though.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Who knows?
No, it doesn't.
It makes just as much sense as all my other theories, Dallas.
Add it to the lore doc.
To the Lord Doc. It's just one of these eventually will be right. I'm just gonna keep spouting
And you
garbage.
just keep saying things, yeah. Ugh, what a problem that would be.
I would love that. I think that'd be super interesting. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
You guys feel like you covered everything you wanted with that conversation?
I mean, I didn't want anything out of that conversation. It was kind of thrusted upon
I know,
me.
I swear, didn't you say something at one point where you were like, oh, like, we should have this conversation because then I can bring up this? That's like half the reason I was like, have to have this conversation.
Sorry. Me as the player, I was like, oh yes, that was it. Like, yes, I wanted to talk about this void thing just with Elowen. Azaria as the, like, being, though, was like...
I mean,
I'm glad that, like, there wasn't too much pushing on, like, the whole are you fine with having been resurrected? So I didn't want to get to the point where it's like I only really said yes because, like, everyone else seemed like you needed me and wanted me back.
Yeah, well...
Because that's, like, a lot to throw on someone.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't say that to me
from
also.
my eternal, like, heaven, but,
No, yeah, I'm really glad you didn't tell me that.
I mean, it's interesting from that conversation too, because we haven't had a lot of like exposure to Azaria's druidicness, like, and that was kind of a touch on that.
Yeah, it's so like there's like something that's only come up once because we've only fought like people one time. The other time I was dead, so I couldn't. But it was like when we fought the people at the railroad, I was like, oh, I want to make sure that they're all buried properly.
Oh.
Like I just wanted to like make sure, and like that was like part of like the druidic belief is that like if you don't bury someone, then like they can become like a monstrous being or something. But haven't fought a lot of people. It would have been very concerning though what I would have done if it was in the house. So I was like, there's like 20 bodies here and the building's on fire.
Cremation counts, right?
Yeah, it's cremation.
I mean, that one guy got like eviscerated, right, by the fireball. So what happens then? I wonder if there's nothing left to bury.
I assume there's nothing left of any of them at this point.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like Azaria as a character is kind of holding back big information from a lot of people to protect them. Like when Nell and Azaria had the conversation initially about like what happened at my village, I think you made some point of like you knew something about how like time magic like that was really powerful and not easy to fix, and you're like, I'm just not going to tell her that. And then wasn't there something in this episode about to do with Ryan?
This episode?
Oh, when
in the
you guys
office
were
with Shandia.
leaving the Shandia, you had your theory, I think, about what was going on. Like you were muttering to yourself.
Yeah, you're like,
Yes.
oh, it seems pretty intense, so I'm not going to bring it up. But then, like, the same thing, like, I'm not going to tell Elowen about how I might be damned eternally now.
It's like, it really just comes to, like, I'm not going to overshare and stuff. So it's like, oh, if people ask me things, just gotta ask the right things. I also protected Drac. Like, I felt bad for his feelings, so I took the bracelet and put it on.
It's sweet, but there's also, I think, like a level there that might eventually become kind of problematic in a way as well.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. Can't wait for that. I think we're all doing really well mentally. for
Oh,
sure.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So later in that same evening, Abe sought Drac out to get his opinion on potentially using the funds we just received to heal his soul shard. Can you guys talk a little bit about that?
I was so surprised. I was like, just chilling. I was like writing in my notes, and then you were like, I'm gonna go see Drac. I'm like,
Drac, I need to talk to you. Yeah, I feel like most of it came up in the session.
I guess like I want to know a little bit about like you talked a lot. I wasn't all able to like write down the notes fast enough for this conversation, so I do need to go back and watch it. But there was a lot of talk about like Abe wanting to seize his own destiny, but what that looks like when he is in this position with Maladin and potentially like owes so much to the souls that he already has like within him and like those to come, right? So before we got the result of the divinity or the defining ritual, kind of like what was like Abe hoping would happen, like what would be the ideal situation? to come from healing the soul shard?
I don't know that he knows of an ideal situation. I think he's gone from, because he felt very betrayed in the Dunan Mountains, because it felt like he had been sent there to die. And then in Valambridge, it was like, oh, this is what I'm actually supposed to be doing for Malden, is bringing these people to paradise. But then suddenly it was like, maybe I don't have to. Like, Abe's had this shadow of Malden and of always being in situations where like somebody else can just take control of his body. Like, obviously I rolled the dice for it, so that's, you know, the dice tell the story, it's a dice game. But I think there's something very poignant for him of realizing that his friend died and he walked away from them because somebody else was like, no, you have to do what Malden wants. There's no choice here. Did that answer the question?
I think so. It's like, I think like it's almost like there isn't really a true answer for it anyways, because it's such kind of a complicated moral situation in a sense, because there are the elements of like, oh, obviously like it would be great to not be under Malden's control, like under their thumb, but also like there is like a sense of like, if bringing these souls to like the ultimate paradise it's such an important thing, like, do you allow yourself to continue to be like under that ruling because it's like having a benefit for others, you know?
Like, does it stop if Abe isn't the one doing it? Like, if, or are all of those memories destroyed if he fixes the crystal? And then from that, is there a connection between the souls in the crystal and the souls in paradise? If he fixes the crystal, does he destroy paradise?
Well, this is like actually like, so I think, who did I send it to? Just Teni, you, and I think I made Anthony look at it too. My giant like Abe lore doc. Some of the questions I have is like, before, like in the Chosen's original body, was like the keeping of the souls and the keeping of the memories still like an aspect of it? Because if so, how? Was there a soul shard? Because I don't think that was really a thing then. During the time that Abe was inert, did anyone worthy pass? Like that person in the document that was the eternal wanderer, like it seemed like they were coming close to the end and they had a vision of Abe, but Abe wasn't awake. So did they pass? What happened? Were they stuck? Like, I have a lot of questions about it.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was going to say it was a very fascinating moral conversation that we got to have.
Yeah.
And like, I really want you to do it because I think it'd be really interesting for the story. Because I think the place that you're coming from is Abe doing it because he wants to protect his friends.
Yeah.
But I don't know who's going to show up after, but it would definitely be interesting.
Yep. There's also, this is like maybe spoiler, but there's a part of it that's like Darkest Timeline Abe, potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a big thing for Abe too is that, and I've said it a few times I think already, but like he doesn't really feel like he's had much agency in his short life, whereas this is something that he might actually be able to make the decision to do and to change. But obviously it's a big choice because he doesn't really know how much of him is Abe and how much is Malden, right? Because obviously raging and being able to come back to life easily are Malden, but like, is his durability and his physical strength and his speed and all that kind of stuff, is that the light frame Argon folk body that he occupies, or is that somehow also linked to Malvin? And like, you know, it's a big question.
For sure. And then after the ritual was completed and it came back with the woe outcome, how did that affect how Abe was feeling?
So critically, Abe doesn't know what Drax said.
Really?
Because he doesn't speak Draconic.
Oh.
Gave him a brief summary,
Oh.
but
you
not
didn't
the exact
specifically say-
words.
Oh shit. True.
Yeah.
So all Abe knows is Drax said it would be bad for you to do this
Mhm.
Yeah.
because we think that keeping you as you is good.
But
Fascinating.
then what does you as you mean?
Exactly. It's all great.
Yeah.
And-
is that
Very much based on Drax's wording in that ritual too. Some slight changes might have changed that result.
Yeah. God, that's
Tried
the
to
hard
be
thing.
real
with, like-
nitpicky about it.
yeah.
It's like
Well, because
the
I'm sorry.
no, I just it's like that. It's the monkey's paw genie outcome or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I went back and watched it specifically for your wording, Anthony. And I was like, oh, but that could mean this, this, and this, and this.
Yeah.
So
There wasn't really a perfect way to write that out. And I did write it out beforehand because I was like, I need to make sure this is correct.
yeah.
And I get at least an answer, yes or no. I don't want a both
Mm.
or a nothing.
I thought you did a pretty good job with wording it. I was impressed when you spoke. I was like, you thought this through. I can tell. Yeah.
Teni.
Question for Abe. Do you think you would ask Drac to do it again?
I don't know. Because I mean, Abe doesn't have a concept of whether that was a lot of Drax energy or like how often he can do that or anything like that. But there's also been a lot that other people have said lately that is kind of influencing his decision as well. Particularly Gideon being like, I can't enter a new family. I just lost another one. That definitely
yeah.
hit Abe. And then I think I don't know if it was a specific thing anybody said, but there was definitely that sense when we were in the clock tower of like, you know, togetherness and everything. And, you know, potentially leaving that, I think, is definitely impacting Abe.
Yeah. God, it's so tough. I had a question and I meant to write it down and I just immediately forgot it. So excellent. Just go back like 2 steps. I definitely thought when Abe originally died in the Dunan Mountains that the premise of the character was going to be that every single time like a different person came back in this body. That's what I thought it was, but oh well.
How many
It's
unique voices can Adam
fine.
come up with?
Yeah.
I mean,
Same body.
I feel like Logan and Denny can attest to that a bit. More than one, less than, I don't know, 700.
I remember what I was going to say now. What is the spell? It's like another dividing spell, but it's like you ask like the DM essentially a question.
I think it's called divination.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, because after you suggested a spell that could give answers, Anthony, I was like, what spell is he talking about? And I went and looked it up. I was like, right, yes, this would make sense, and I'd be very interested to see when this comes into play, if it does.
So
Then
you
I
got
was like, after, because we did a long rest, I was like looking through my spells, being like, okay, picked some new spells. I was like, fucking augury, dude. I
It's-
could just do that.
Really, it was so cool. It was
It's
such a
also-
good use.
It's such an underutilized spell that, like, because it's so open-ended like that, like,
Yeah.
is it wheel and woe, or is it nothing? Like, it's
Yeah.
so interpretable that I feel like hardly anybody uses it, but it's so good for the role play.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to use that as much as I can appropriately. I don't think it's going to be overused because every subsequent time you use it before you take another long rest, there's a chance that you just get a random answer. So
Yes. Yeah, I looked it up while you were doing it. Very interesting. What level is divination at? Just
Fourth.
I think
curious.
fourth. Yeah.
I
Fourth?
just pulled it up. Yeah.
Okay. And because you have it open right now, Dallas, does it seem like you have to be quite as like crafty with the wording there? Can it be a bit more like a straight shot? Because it's like you're kind of like reaching beyond the bounds of the world to ask the DM specifically. It's very meta.
Yeah, I think it probably is. I mean, it says you ask a single question concerning a goal, event, or activity to occur within 7 days, and the GM offers truthfully, but the reply could be a cryptic rhyme, an omen, a phrase. So I think it could also still be misinterpreted.
Oh yeah.
I'm going through all of the possibilities. What's the other one that is
commune.
like channel? Oh yeah, commune. Is that it?
That's the 5th
And
level one for
And you can
clerics.
ask
Yeah.
three
Three questions, I believe they're yes or no.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So many possibilities. I mean, we could just keep trying different avenues, see
You
answers.
need to level up a little bit more
Yeah.
first.
You just need one more, right? Same as me?
Not for commune.
No?
No, commune is a 5th level spell.
Oh, 5th level spell. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
thinking 5th level in
I need
character.
one more level in cleric to be able to bring people back from the dead.
Isn't Revivify also a 5th level spell?
No, it's
No,
3rd.
that's third.
Oh.
Raise dead is fifth.
It's 5th level. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Got a ways to go for that one.
Oh, should we be looking for diamonds?
We should buy some diamonds. Shit.
Yeah, I was just
Oh,
thinking about
Probably
There's a
buy some
thought.
diamonds.
I was like, oh, we have money. I was trying to think, I'm like, what the hell do I spend money on my other campaigns? Like, what's important? It's like, diamonds would be
Yes,
good.
diamonds.
Yeah. I don't know. Everyone was talking about like big magical items, and I couldn't think of any because I don't know enough about items. So I kind of forgot like anything else that might be like practical. But to be fair, I didn't get my first diamond in my home game until I died and then became paranoid. So I just wore one around my neck at all times.
Also, something to consider as well is scrolls. Like, Anthony can't cast Revivify. What about a Revivify scroll?
Aren't they?
Need to be able
Super
to use
pricey.
that spell slot though.
No. So
The scroll uses the.
yeah, the power is contained within a scroll, and there's a chance it might not work if you're not the level suited for the spell, but you roll for it. And in the creation of a scroll, I believe, at least from what I recall, that the material components are also included with the scroll.
I believe so.
Hey y'all, we gotta get some fucking scrolls.
I think they're
Oh,
really
yeah.
expensive. In my mind, are they not like
Oh, for sure.
I mean-
1,000
but
gold?
we could pull
Um,
resources and get one for now.
I think they're a couple hundred.
I mean,
So
I guess it would
depends on
the
depend
level
on
of the
the
spell.
spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, a 5th level I feel would be probably pretty pricey.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a true resurrection, raised dead would be. You know what? Just for the fun of it, I'm gonna find it, pull it up, and tell you how much something like that would cost.
Sounds good.
Great.
I
Just
just
for
wanted to say real
funsies.
quick, I realized I was muted twice when I tried to say this.
Oh no.
Oh no.
When we were talking about Augury, I was like, I picture Augury as like the younger sibling, like bursting into the older sibling's room and be like, "What do you think about this?" And be like, "Oh fuck, I don't know. Yeah, get out of my room." And then like you do it again the same day. The younger sibling bursts in, and it's like, "I don't even care. Leave me alone."
It's like, yeah, no, yeah, okay.
It's a cute way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
My mental image when Drac was talking about setting up a ritual for augury was he had like an auger, like the machine that drills holes into the ground,
Mm-hmm.
just set up in this hotel room with a bunch of bones around it.
Super casual.
We're gonna
Yeah.
dig a fence post here, Abe. Through it, we will find our answers.
It sounds like Drax digging a hole in that room anyways.
That's true, yeah.
Seems like it.
Yep.
Have to
So,
pay extra.
to give you guys a baseline for a 5th level scroll, you'd be looking at around 640 gold pieces.
Okay, kind of better than I was expecting.
And if
What
you just
about,
wanted
like,
to
a
do,
revivify?
if you wanted to
Yeah.
do revivify, that'd only be 200.
Oh damn.
It's doable.
Yeah.
That cheaper than the diamond you need to.
If that is, which
It's
I'm actually just
the-
about to look it up.
It's
think it
a
is.
500 gold
I
diamond.
I thought it was.
I think it's
100.
500 for
Or
the
two.
for the Raised Dead.
Oh, Jesus.
It's 300 for Revivifies
Yeah.
Diamond.
Level 3,
okay.
300. Level 5, 500.
It's also, I was also just looking up, I was like, what is the like spell scroll thing? And it seems like it is cheaper based on how the DMG does like buying one than it is to make it yourself if you were a wizard.
Yeah,
So-
it's kind of weird.
The math is weird.
Yeah, I mean, I was also considering looking at the document I'm pricing things off of that this might be the case. So what I'd probably do is add the price of the material components on top of the scroll. So
Makes sense.
Revivify, in that case, you'd be looking at
500.
500, and Raised Dead, which is 500 gold pieces, was it? Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
1,140.
That makes more
Yikes.
sense.
We just gotta do some like dungeon crawls and just find one in a chest.
Yeah.
That's the way
sure.
to find.
They
That's
just
the way to
ex-
find a scroll.
Just hang out in the world, yeah.
Break into
Yeah.
more people's offices, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
They can't stop all of us.
I think that's
Worked out
why.
fine last time.
I think if Maramus wanted to, he could stop all of us.
Yeah, probably.
Actually, probably true, yeah.
If that really is Maramus.
Don't.
Oh, imagine if Maramus was a doppelganger.
I can't do this with every character because I feel like we could, and I just like. I can't.
Well,
It might be the case, but
well, let's. Okay.
Alternate timelines. Marymus is the halfling child.
Here
From
it
a
is, it's
different
all coming
timeline.
together.
Here it is.
I'm gonna grow up and make something of myself.
Mother, are you proud of me now?
He's still got mommy
500
issues,
years in
though.
the future.
For sure.
That'd
Yeah.
be crazy.
I just wanted to make a quick note back on the rails super fast. I really enjoyed the sequence of events of how that evening played out, where it was like Gideon super paranoid, having a
Oh my
meltdown,
God, yeah.
and then like Drac and Abe, nice conversation, moral quandary, etc. And then them being like, let's sneak into Gideon's room, and just like the pure comedy that came from that. So good.
Your Benny Hill music in the background.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good comedy in this session.
This
Yeah.
was a funny session, yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Really fun.
I think it's maybe we're just also excited to like play again. That we're like, let's just have some goofs and it'll be fine.
It's I felt the need to pull some comedy from Gideon's tragedy. Like again, I played it pretty straight, but it was just like the fact that he was freaking out over something so like it's kind of small in the grand scheme of things. It's sad when you think about it, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I think those situations can kind of be both. There was something my playwriting professor said to me that's like, you don't get to dictate when you write something if it's comedy or not. Like you just write, and then like whatever it turns out to be will be what it is, essentially. So I think that's kind of like similar. Like, yeah, I was playing it straight, but I'm like, yeah, but in certain situations like this, paranoid overreaction is very sad, very serious, but it's like in the right context, in the right framing, it's also hilarious. So
Yeah.
mental breakdowns, hilarious. Moral of today's after party.
Yeah. And as that scene was kind of playing out, like I mentioned this to you guys after the session too. I was like, it was very nice to see this like brotherly like bond beginning to form between three characters, which debatably up to this point, I feel like haven't like tried to bond as much, like as this
Abe and
specific
Drac have
group.
gotten
Like
close
there's
over.
been
Three of
there's been a
you.
lot of one-on-ones, but the fact that you added the three of you together, it was like this is a different dynamic that I really appreciate. And then I was also weighing like Nell had already said that she heard Gideon whimpering through the wall earlier, so I was like, okay, let's take that detail. They could probably hear the conversation going on. I was like, do I ruin this moment? I'm like, no, Nell coming over would probably enhance this somehow. And you did it perfectly.
Well, Denny, the thing is that we were literally on the same page. If you read my mind, because like right before Drax started the breathing exercises, I rolled a perception check. I think it was when Gideon cocked his gun, and I rolled an 18, and I was like literally going to interrupt, but then like the scene kept happening, and I was like, okay, like I don't want to be intrusive or whatever. And then you messaged me, and I was like, yes, thank you for the permission to do exactly what I've been planning. Like my improv, like urges were just like, oh, it'd be so funny to jump in this scene, you know. And sometimes you're not sure as an improviser, you're like, do I let them just go? And I was,
No, it was perfect.
it was a good sweep, is the term.
Yeah, it was a good sweep. Yeah.
It took us into break too, so it was perfect.
Yeah. For once, I got to bring us into break, and it wasn't something upsetting for me.
True.
Well,
I'll take that.
I mean, I did
get
have you
4 nils
roll
at one point.
Yeah, you made it a D100 roll, which I was very concerned about. I was like, in that moment, did my ears just become supersonic or something? What was the relevance?
There's an effect that's waiting to trigger. I'm just gonna, put that out there.
From 2 days ago?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
What on earth is the trigger? Like, what would I be waiting for? I hate
Not
that.
open a door. Whatever you do.
I've already been through multiple
Don't
doors, and
touch
it's been
doors.
2 days. Like,
To
we
be
went
fair,
into
There's a different.
This isn't the dangerous list, so probably not going
I
to be
don't
that
trust
bad.
like that.
That's true. No, it's true because that one isn't related from Tides of Chaos. That's just like something that can just happen once a day, just for funsies.
Yeah.
Loved the
Okay.
mirror image. That was great.
Yeah. Oh man, fun. Yeah. So if we're going in chronological order, the next bit was that Azaria and Gideon went to the Shanday's office. We kind of touched on Gideon stuff there. Logan, did you have anything else you want to talk about in terms of? Oh, Denny's got something.
I want to ask Ryan how excited he is to use that magical item he has received. Both of them, in fact.
I'm very excited. I'm super excited. I have pulled some shenanigans with illusions in the past. Although 5 feet, I'll try and figure something out. But we'll see how it goes.
I mean, it's more effective if you're a bard.
Danny just trying to make me level into Bard. He really wants me to play Bard this campaign.
Yeah, I'm actually curious about that. Like that did feel like a very like massive wink, and I was wondering, I'm like, oh, is this something that you two had spoken about?
No.
Or
This
you
was
just-
more
you
like
just
a
want bard?
it's like a piece of Gideon's backstory, and it's like, this is the Bardic College. He's like, Maramus and a little bit of myself were like, I kind of want to get Gideon more because a coupon doesn't help him right now. So I was like, what's a fun small something that could actually be relevant from Maramus and also apply to Gideon? I was like, well, of course I'm going to give him something for his gun, but also they have music in common. So I was like, here's a flute. What you want to do with that, that's up to you.
I have another
very
thing.
cool.
Look, I don't want to be salty also, but Elowen didn't get anything from these people, and Gideon got 3
Same.
things.
That's
Same.
why
No offense. No
you
offense. I know
got-
I got that mithril armor from before,
You got
From
at
the
least a bag of
cannibals?
holding from these people.
but they didn't know I already wanted one.
Abe didn't get anything either.
Yeah,
You got
did
you
you not?
got you got a moral query to parse.
It's true, you
and
didn't get
conjure
arrested.
over.
That's what you got.
Yeah, that's true. You didn't get arrested. You got a freaking soul shard diamond or whatever. So,
Yeah,
they didn't mean to give you that one, but still. you
in
didn't
the
go to jail.
overall gifting of things, not everybody
I
did get
understand.
everything from Astrid and Chandier, but I have metagamed been like, how do I get something for everybody? Abe has acquired his axe. Elowen was gifted this rod, which in that same document is the most valuable of everything everybody has received, so hush you. And
No, I understand. I was just like, excuse me, you felt bad that you gave Gideon an IOU?
I know.
I didn't get anything from you? You don't
It's
feel
not-
bad
it's
about
like-
me?
It's one of those things that's kind of like awkward in the meta because it's like it's not a frustration at you as the GM. It is an in-world frustration as the character too. Like the Shandier to be like, that's cool. Play favorites much?
Sure,
I
whatever.
understand. Whatever. So
but
Also,
and to kind of back him up, like I don't need to defend him. Like I know you guys are cool with this, but
no, you do. You're on trial right now. Actually, explain
Like,
yourself.
Elowen and Adam and Abe didn't get anything, but he gave Gideon a piece of paper that is completely useless right now. That's like, you have to go out of your way to do something to get something. Like he's basically given him a quest.
I mean, it's a pretty good quest, though. It's gonna be
pretty neat.
It's gonna be dope in 15 episodes when we finally get
Yep.
to roll bar.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Very excited to shoot lasers.
That's what the gun will do.
What?
Definitely that.
No, I'll flavor it better than that.
We should start recording our like adventures in real time of being like, okay, so we take a long rest and the episode's 8 hours and it's just our long rest.
Oh
Oh
god.
god.
Would that be fun?
Live stream of us sleeping.
We just LARP.
Oh my
Just-
god.
Me staring at the camera for 8 hours.
Well,
I'm
at
not
some
even made
point,
of
you
metal.
and Nell could hang out.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I'm only doing my thing for 4 hours and I have to figure out actually what on earth I do for the rest. That's why they're always like, oh, and everyone comes down. I'm like, I have to imagine I've truly been in like the breakfast hall for 4 hours. So I'm like, do I just sit in my room? I don't know.
I just kind of assume you read books or do some drawing.
Yeah, I do that as well. I just like to imagine I'm probably like a people watcher. So I'm just up at like, 4 a.m. The kitchen staff are probably baking. I'll come down.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I have a question for Logan about
Yeah.
you meeting the Chandier. Had Azaria met the Chandier before?
Oh, I assume so. They're my boss. It would be very.
Fair
I'd
enough.
probably like had to write like a proposal on why I should go with Starcross, which comes into like some of my smaller abilities that we had talked about is like because I can talk to plants, and so I had
Okay.
written that like my role in like kind of post desolation rehabilitating the earth and stuff is that like I went to like a few settlements at the start. I just like talk to the plants, be like, hey, grow better. You can do this. Talk to the cows, be like, yo, behave, and they'll treat you well.
That's nice. So I guess my question then is, was it awkward for Azaria to see their boss again after just like piecing out of Starcross? And like you did apologize and he seemed fine with it, but do you think he's
Yeah.
actually fine with it?
Yeah, actually, after that conversation, I think that he's very like, you know, go and pursue whatever like the most like interesting knowledge is and stuff, which kind of is like very similar to my flaw, where it's like I have a flaw is like, ooh, if there's like something that like, which is why when like Denny was like, hey, there's this void energy thing, I was like, I don't know if Rhea can resist the idea of figuring out what this is and trying to use it because that's knowledge, and they want that. So yeah, I think it went smoother than I expected walking in, but after the conversation, I was like, oh yeah, he seems pretty on board with this.
Literally the nicest person we've met, I think. So
I know. It's why like I know Elwyn was feeling like shady towards him and now Gideon is a little bit too, but I'm like, it's the first one I feel like I can just trust, even though like I personally have not interacted with him. It's just me as the player, like he just seems very like congenial and I'm like, oh, I like him. I hope it's not fucking misguided.
What about you, Lumpha? What the
yeah, I
hell?
was gonna
Oh,
add Lumpha to
Oh no,
that,
sorry.
too.
Yeah, Alumpha is my new mom also. So I do love her. Actually, I would die for her, Papar, in a heartbeat. And I will.
You
So
almost did.
You might have to. She wasn't at her desk last time we saw her. Last time we went
it
there.
was her day off. There was just a different person there. She's allowed to have a life.
You think that these
We'll see.
NPCs get days off?
This is a robust world and everything is alive in Denny's brain. So they don't just like sit there motionless until we walk in. You know, a lot is happening in the background. On her day off, they took a day trip to the orchards, her and Papar, and then they read books in her tree, right, Denny? That's what happened.
That's what I
Thank
like
you.
to picture.
Yeah, it's great. They had some apples, they had some bread and cheese, and it's a little snack. Probably not Papar. I don't think he'd probably eat because it's where would it go, but.
They just went up to the farm for a while. You know, there's a lot of open spaces.
Went to the farm? The farm? She's dead. We're gonna find her in a goddamn river.
Stop. Okay. Sorry.
Far's gonna be torn
Oh,
to
she's
shreds.
gonna have been eaten by bugs. Like,
Stop it. No. Look, this is already such an emotionally traumatic campaign by design. I need the brief little moments of sunlight here and there. I will not accept. Denny, don't you kill her or him.
No promises.
Oops.
Yeah, there's a
Great.
festival and a dragon. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, this is totally Chekhov's dragon.
Oh my god.
if there's a dragon, you have to use it.
Yeah.
That just reminded me of a bit me and my friend had. Just whenever we're waiting for something, it's Chekhov's that. So like the bus is Chekhov's bus. Is it
Yeah.
gonna show? Is it even there? We're idiots. Long story short.
I like that though. That's basically what my anxiety does anytime I arrive somewhere before someone else. If I'm meeting there, I'm just like, oh, actually, I wasn't supposed to be here on this day, and they're never coming. And
Chekhov's friend.
Chekhov's friend. Yep,
But
that's
isn't
what I've
it
got.
more Schrodinger's?
Yeah.
Oh,
Chekhov's
yes.
gun
Chekhov's is the idea
Right.
that it's,
Sorry.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
If a gun is on a mantelpiece in a play, that
It's gonna
gun
be
is going
used.
to be fired.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I went on a different direction. Look, they're both
Yeah.
kind of old men, so
They're
it's,
They're both old white dudes from Europe.
Yeah.
you know.
it's the same.
If the gun's hanging on a wall in a play, is the bullet even in there?
Well, they
Hopefully
would
not.
put it
Fingers
there
Chekhov's
first.
bullet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't keep all the guns in your home loaded just in case, Teddy?
Did
No,
we
I
just compare
prefer
a
Czech-
Russian manager?
I prefer Czech Dinger's firearms.
Czech dinger. Yeah.
All right. Well, anywho, so Gideon brought the rest of us, the secondhand gang, to to DNR Solutions.
The worst adventure ever. Takes
Mel
the
seems
boys on
so
something
jealous.
fun.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, me and my boys gonna go and have a fun day on the town. Got there, and it's like,
you the
oh,
next time.
oh, Drac and Abe aren't here. Oh, well, I needed someone strong to come with me to DNR, but I guess I just will go by myself. Oh,
Here's what
well.
Gideon was expecting.
Rude.
Gideon was hoping that he could take you all to DNR and you could watch him get absolutely lambasted by patients and you could get some satisfaction from that because Gideon being the lowest member or lowest wisdom having member of this party, which I also took into account when making this man, he knows he's an idiot sometimes. So he's like, okay, come for the show.
I would have enjoyed that greatly. And so I was very disappointed when that didn't happen.
She was gone.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Where did she
ever
go?
really there?
Yeah.
Don't say that. Time limey stuff. I don't know.
That's okay. If Drac and Abe were there, we saw her. She's real.
hmm
Maybe.
Chekhov's patience. Will she be back?
Oh god.
Schrodinger again.
We're getting off.
Well, no. Is she gonna come back? Like she's been shown on the stage. Is she gonna be used?
What's actually happening again in the robust world that's happening in Denny's mind is that she and Sarze and Kardrag are doing kind of like a Tom and Jerry-esque like sneak behind us, and they keep hiding in each other's hiding spots, and they actually have kind of like a Benny Hill shenanigan going on themselves. It's really comedic, super funny. They're all just kind of being like, "Oh, it's my turn to kill him." No, okay, but it was my turn next. Mom said it was my turn to assassinate these fools. So
Mom, keyword there, missing character Yulumfa. Yulumfa's the big bad evil person
We're cracking this case wide open.
who's not there that day. Patience and Yulumfa, maybe they're the same person.
Patience, Papar, P, same thing, probably.
Now,
We're
I would
figuring
like
out.
to bring up the fact that one of them has ink while the other, as you creepily found out, does not.
Yeah. Did I say this off stream? Why I asked about the tattoo?
Oh, yes, you
I
did
think
say that
so.
on
Yeah,
stream.
you said
Yeah.
it.
Okay, yeah. So the point of that was in like the big lore document that Adam wrote about like from like Arthur Pendrack's perspective about the followers of Malden, the Eternal Wanderer one, like the one person they found had a tattoo. It was like glory wherever you find it, I think, or something like that.
Wherever it may hide.
Yes. And so because the other one was of the Arturian knight symbol, so I'm like, that's not to do with the path. So yeah, like I think Beryl said something about, oh yeah, she's kind of a wanderer now. She's like, is she? It's like these are like my Russian assassination launch words. What's the thing?
Right,
Anyways.
your trigger words.
My trigger words, yeah. So it's like worthy wanderer. If you say anything, I'm just like, sorry. It means something clearly. So that's what I was going for there. It wasn't just me being like a freaking creep, and then found out Beryl was the creep. So
What's her
worked out.
bod like? Does she have abs? She got
Yeah,
abs?
just curious. Yeah, she sounds pretty cool. and hot.
Super cash.
So just like, what's her deal? Is she seeing anyone? I like, not for me. It's for my friend.
This is not the first time that I've had intending to be innocent NPC turned into a horrible creep. Thanks, Logan, from previous campaign.
Yeah, I gotta
The
do what I
story.
gotta do.
The story
Wait,
is.
the previous campaign story?
Mhm.
Gregory the
Uh,
halfling.
Gregory the halfling, who like said something, and my character being like a kid was like, "Are you hitting on me?" And then just ruined this man's life.
Oh my god.
I blackmailed him with it. I got every little bit of money. It was like we were supposed to do a deal, and then like he was like, "Okay, so you'll get your 40%." I was like, "But do you want me to go back to town and tell everyone that you hit on the like 14-year-old girl?" He's like, "Okay, you'll get more money. Leave me alone, please."
Incredible.
That's
Yeah.
the god of magic.
That is the god of
Yeah.
magic in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does this guy still exist? Probably. Well, yeah, halflings live decently long, right? What if he's alive and like knows now, or do people know that this kid is now the god? Like, do they know the origin of it?
A lot of
I
people probably
always
don't think
assume
about it.
no.
Okay, it'd be really funny if like there was like a bust or something of the likeness, being like, I feel like
I assume
know
somewhere
that.
there must be like a statue of all the heroes, probably in like Brule Bar or something.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll see
I
when we
hope
go.
so.
Oh, that'd be so
I really
cool.
hope so.
Well, and we have one of their ashes in this urn that we won.
Apparently.
So
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally worth
100%.
cheating for.
yeah.
There are no other heroes. The last session didn't happen. There was no other heroes leading the charge in that battle. No, not at all.
We will get to that in a second, but I just want to talk a little bit. We had our beautiful moment on the top of the clock tower, and it was so cinematic, us all enjoying the view. Teni, you did such a good job narrating that. I was just like, I could picture it so perfectly. And because we had a kind of a moment of like reflection in the narration there, I wanted to get into a bit more of like in character, how is everyone feeling about their next steps once we leave Valambridge? Good, it seems.
Great.
Just like
Everyone's really
deadpan silence.
Everyone goes, oh.
No, I think like there's finally some for at least the big goal, which is probably what like Azaria is like most concerned with. There's some more like tangible things to go after now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just came up with the perfect analogy in my head for how I'm feeling, because I kept hinting, I'm like, oh, I'm like terrified of going to Pearl Bar. It's like I've just finished kind of the tutorial section in a big RPG video game, and I just unlocked the rest of the map, and there's question marks everywhere for me to investigate, and I get like fatigue because I'm like, oh God, like where am I supposed to go now? That's how I'm feeling. It's just like, I don't know. We kind of have a path, but it's just gonna all snowball and be terrible. So yep.
We'll see how Brule Bar goes. for my poor boy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of like with Azaria on. I'm interested in following this druid lead. I think they maybe have like the best bet of having ancient knowledge, apparently, that I'm looking for about where this stranger came from. But I think like as we've been discovering things, the more and more concerned I am getting about what I'm going to learn as we figure this out. So while we are making progress, I'm also like, ugh, like what's coming next, you know?
I mean, it's been 300 years. It's almost like a comfort in there's a whole thing outside of like D&D that's like it can be comfortable sometimes to live in a reality of like a story, even if it is negative. So it's like, you know, if you're someone who has like back pain or something, it's like, oh yeah, I can complain about it a lot and I can talk about it, and you know, and you're just like making it worse in a sense. So it's like the same kind of for Elowen of being like, well, this has been what I've dealt with and I'm comfortable with what I know. So once I open that door, like what changes, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought, I guess. I wouldn't say she's comfortable.
Yeah, it's like a, it's not like a full like, oh, like basking
yeah.
like in a warm bath or whatever. It's like kind of that thing. It's like you
Familiar?
like the, yeah, it's like it's familiar and you
it's
kind
all
of
you've
like,
ever known. Yeah. And the unknown is scary, but I mean, what else am I gonna do?
Well, do we hear from Anthony and Adam?
Go ahead, Adam.
Sure. I think for Abe, there's, a crucial decision to be made before we go to that fishing village. But I think post leaving Valambridge, I think it's very much we go to the fishing village, we have a heading, like the next step is clear, and then we basically just see what happens. Because if anything has happened so far, it's that we will fall into things.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm sure we'll actually fall into the ghost dragon's mouth and all die.
And it teleports us somewhere else, and then we get to figure that out.
To the base of Mount Celestia.
This is how we get to hell, so I can find those books I was looking for.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
very exciting. I think
Hell
we're at a
Library.
Sorry,
good.
spoilers for the next 12 episodes.
Yeah, we do have we have
already
a
written that
writer's
up.
table right
Yeah.
after this, so we're just kind of spitballing. We're in that brain mode of trying to figure out the plot for the next few episodes.
Yeah, we got to script out all our dialogue scenes.
Yeah, for sure. Anthony, did you?
Yeah, Drac is, cautiously excited to see his brother. Beyond that, he's actually excited for the journey of where to go next because, this is all new territory for him and he loves exploring and he's excited to grow with his allies.
Wow, that's so nice. I'm so
You know what?
happy for you.
That makes playing D&D so easy. It's a really good mindset to have. And it allows me to create a plot that will seamlessly move forward. Because you're just like, let's do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You like doing it.
Yeah.
Playing the game. Get your
Uh-huh.
mind out of the gutter. Come on.
Also, yes.
It kind of like plays into my next little bit too. I really liked like how you narrated like all of us kind of like reflecting like, oh, it hasn't really been that long of us traveling together, but we've done so much. And it's true, like for a lot of our characters, it is kind of our first time like truly adventuring, regardless of like how old we are. And so maybe realize like I don't think I had like fully reflected on like everything we've accomplished. Does anyone else feel like their characters has really like kind of thought back to like everything that we've done? I think it's only actually been, just bring it up here, I think it's only been like a few 10 days that we like set out from Starcross. So like,
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
been about a month.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, you're right. Pretty much exactly a month. That's insane. Like so much has happened. Like,
Yeah.
so much story. Like,
I think post dealing with Percival and the whole crime thing, Drac has been reflecting a lot, and he's been thinking about like where they've come and or how far they've gone.
something I feel like in character, I don't feel like now we'll reflect on it until like we're on the road again. Like there's something about being in the city that feels like it's so temporary, like it feels like it's just kind of like everything's like on pause until we're not in the city anymore in a way,
Interesting. It's like the opposite of how one would normally think. Like, you're on the road, that's the temporary.
Yeah, but I think it's because like when you're traveling, you have that time. Like in Valambridge, it's been so like nonstop since we got there, and it's still like it doesn't really feel like a restful place so much because it's like, okay, we did the crime, we did the research, now we've got the festival, but it's like, oh, once we start like walking and take our long rests and our like fireside hangouts, it's like you really have the time to like mull things over, I think. Yeah. There's a lot. There's like a lot to parse, I think. Not just for me, but for like everyone. So, oh God. It's gonna be good. Yeah. everyone feel like they had an answer or wanted to say anything else for that? No?
How do
do you
people feel about the existence of airships?
Love it.
Oh, it was exciting. I didn't know that was part of the world, so. I
Like
didn't
you were
know
sending a
dragons on
dragon at us?
airships.
Yeah, we fought dragons on them.
I dropped
Really?
information about them in episode 5.
Yeah, but there's a lot of information, so I'm sorry. Also, my note taking wasn't as good in the earlier episodes, so
That's fair.
yeah.
Now that you mention that, I remember you talking about airships, and I fully played Drac as if he had never seen an airship before in the last episode.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I, as soon as you said airship, I was like, oh, how can I attach Gideon to this? Like, so I was like, dude, they probably saw all the stars because light pollution probably not really a big deal in Balesville. So I was like, an airship. Now that's pretty rare, at least at first. And then because they were building the train, right? So I figured they would bring the airships over Balesville, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
well,
that would
there's
be
an
like
idea.
their exact trajectory. I loved that you like added the Make-A-Wish off of an airship thing. That was great.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really cool.
I'm kicking myself because I meant to ask like Azaria for more like clarification, but like why it didn't have a good memory. But it also felt like we were trying to have such a peaceful moment. I didn't want to feel like, why do they make you sad?
Yeah, like,
Is it because all your friends died in a battle?
yeah, it's because I fought in a war and lost a lot of people. And airship. That was the first time I had ever seen an airship. Was like,
Oh, okay.
I mean, like it was a good thing they saved it, but it's definitely a bit of like the memories of that. I'm sure that going back to Burl Bar will also be hard. I think there's a reason that I didn't stay there super
Right.
long. So yeah,
Or trauma, yay!
Yay.
more trauma.
For the previous campaign people, this fight on the airship, was the airship like were you taking actions as the ship or as the characters? Just curious.
Characters.
I think
Or,
we
like
had the
on
option.
the deck of it, and I can't remember.
Well, I think there were some ballistas that we could use,
Mhm.
but
I
they
just
got-
remember killing Nick's Pegasus.
Oh,
That's my big takeaway from it.
did
Yeah.
everyone have a Pegasus?
No,
Oh,
he had like the Find Greater Steed spell. He was a paladin.
oh,
And I
Only-
shot straight through it to like kill a dragon or something.
Yeah, old man Dan lost his Pegasus that day.
Yep.
You can ask him about it when we go find him.
oh yeah.
I
didn't
hope
know
to
that.
run into him.
Oh, if we run into Old Man Dan, we gotta bring Nick on. Like, we gotta.
Just making a note to that I need to find this person as well.
Man, damn.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Very exciting. And then finally, guys, we made it to the first day of Heroes Fest. Not the opening ceremony, because that's not how we do things.
We made it to the day, and I wasn't sure that was gonna happen.
I know.
halfway
I
through the
really,
session.
I really thought it was gonna like end at the clock tower for a second
like
there,
the
and I was
way
like,
Teddy was narrating, I was
yeah,
like,
I was like,
and now he's gonna say.
I know.
that's where
I
I'm
think it's
going."
funny because I think we were both kind of playing chicken. I think Danny was waiting for us to say something. We were all being like waiting for him to be like, and we'll end tonight's session.
Yeah, I was like, what a beautiful image.
You know what? That's funny you bring it up because I did notice. I was like, this is a really big pause.
Yeah, we're all like, it's so funny.
Are we still playing?
I think it was nice. It was a
Uh,
nice long pause for us to just kind of enjoy that moment.
Mhm.
Hilarious. Yeah, so we sat for a little bit too long for a group portrait. And then we went and joined in some festivities. Wow, good lord. We began with the pie eating contest, in which we were joined by our favorite NPCs, the
Yay.
tragic halfling boy and his terrible mother. We wanted to speak a little bit about like the history of these characters if people haven't like watched the episodes full through. So I'm gonna say take it away, Dallas, because I feel like you.
Logan made the character
Oh,
originally.
that's true.
It was
Yeah.
Logan's
Really?
character.
Oh,
It
so
is-
Logan, yeah.
It is my magnum opus of D&D, is Sad Child. And I was like, all I thought of when I created him was like Panic Morty from Rick and Morty. He's like, oh no, Rick. And I was like, I'm just going to be this Panic Child. And I'm so glad that he came back. Because it was just so much fun to play him. And now to like just see him again. And I hope every big city we go to,
I know.
like, I hope that he's just like when we go even to the fishing village, for some reason his mom has like gone there.
I feel like it's got to be
Ooh, I
tied to
really
festivals.
like the fisherman.
Yeah, every
There's
festival.
a fishing contest.
Yeah, what's the next festival? Let me just.
But I do think
You muted.
You're muted, Dallas.
Well, I do think that the people playing this character needs to keep changing, though. I think everyone in this party needs to play that child at some point.
Great.
Guys, in 1 month, we've got El Soler. That's the next one. So,
Sad Child in 1 month.
Festival
Every
of the
month.
Sun. Let's go.
It's only
kid's
18
gonna-
sessions.
That kid is gonna look directly. He's gonna look directly into the sun and blind himself. And be like, Mom.
Mom, look at me go! Ah!
Because I can remember, like, Teni originally made up the mother character, and then I took it when you were asking for us to play NPCs because I was like, I want to be her. But were they connected originally, or was that a decision that we made?
I think it was just improv.
To make them like mother and son.
Well,
I think
I
so.
think Logan, I think he made the character of the son, and then I think I might have just piggybacked and just like added like the mother character in there. But and then
Okay.
you were like, oh, I want to be the mom, and I was like, here you go.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not gonna make up my
Yeah,
own.
I think
NPC.
I was like trying to impress my mom or something in the first thing, and Denny made this like mom who's just like, you see her walking away and ignoring you.
I love it. It's such
Hey,
a good
Christy,
dude.
you hit us with that amazing voice. that
Which
you
I
can't
couldn't
remember.
fucking remember. I'm gonna have to think about it.
Yeah, you can go back and watch.
There's certain ones I find hard to watch back. I guess I could. For me specifically, not because of you guys. I just,
You're all terrible at it. I can't
yeah,
watch
certain
it.
ones I'm like, guys, rough performance
Wow,
much. You know,
cringy.
it's like, yeah, it's hard sometimes to like hear yourself.
I mean,
So-
it's fair. We were getting our legs.
Yeah. Cool. My next big question is, why did Drac cheat? Just curious.
At what?
Life?
I mean, honestly, there's no real reason. I was just like, it's Heroes Fest. I feel like I could just use spell slots willy-nilly. Sure. It
It's
was
really-
Chaos
That's a
Demon time.
dangerous mindset.
Yeah. I think it's kind of funny to me because you have certain moments where I think you're like relishing being a character and not a GM. And so you're like, oh, this is a funny idea. And you go with it. And I don't
Yep.
always know how synchronistic they are with Drac, but I want to see you try and connect it. Like, I think he's so like rigid and like balanced. So when he has these like impulse moments, I want to see like how that like connects to his deeper character. Because that's the fun of like playing.
There, no one
character.
explained any rules. It was just eat these pies. And Drac was like, cool, I know how to make myself be better at eating pie. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I'll accept that. I guess.
But I'm so glad that little Porrick won the day.
Mm-hmm. That leads me to my final question that I wrote. Now that he's achieved his life goal, what will Porrick do next?
I think he'll probably go back to his family and
He hasn't seen them in 5 years because he's
Oh.
been training for this.
longer than that. He hasn't seen them in like 70.
Like tripled his life savings too.
Yeah. I think he's gonna go back and be like, Mom, Dad, I did it. I can become crown prince of this dwarven empire.
They're dead, actually. And there's been like an evil uncle that took over.
Yeah. That's the
Um,
one shot, Porrick's adventure to become High King of the Dwarves again.
And just kind of on that note, does Pork feel any like moral qualms at all about the fact that he achieved this goal, you know, the culmination of all of his life's desires and energy and his life savings, through less than honorable means?
As far as he knows,
Yeah, he
the
doesn't know
handsome
that.
dragonborn slapped him on the back, and suddenly he could eat better.
I
Okay.
just gave him a pep talk.
Yeah,
You're like
a winning
choking-
smile.
choking and burping through a mouthful of pie. You got this. And Pork was like, wow, it's the hottest thing I've ever seen.
Yep, these onion sweats, they're nothing.
I ship it.
Yep.
Yeah.
into it.
So,
Dragonborn sweat.
They glisten.
I mean, I have no idea. I'd have to look into it. Whatever lizards do. Well, it's.
They secrete, you know, they get mucusy.
Oh, I hate that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ew, gross.
Like oozes out the scales a little bit.
I
Built-in
You know what?
lubrication.
Not everything needs to have an answer.
I agree, Denny.
I don't think you've met this party, Teddy.
Yeah,
No.
now we must have the answers. I'm going
Stop
to the
asking me questions.
Going back to the library.
going to the
We gotta
anatomy time.
heat Drac up.
It's like, yeah, why don't you guys perform experiments instead?
Burning hands on
I'm
Drac.
just gonna say Drac sweats because that's so much better than the alternatives.
So he's a mammal, not a reptile.
Yeah, sure.
This
Oh,
is
weird.
like not the right like anatomy so much, but it'd be cool if like you secreted your own sunscreen the way hippos do. Could be neat.
That'd be pretty neat.
Totally.
That's a new fact I learned today, just now.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey, fun fact for you. Hippos make their own sunscreen from their pores.
Man,
wish
I
we
wish
did
I
that.
could do that.
Yeah,
Amazing.
fucking annoying.
Fuck.
We had to like make up our own. Bullshit. Anyways.
So,
Well-
we can get into this later. It's okay. There's a lot of anatomical questions I have about Dragonborn now.
oh.
Yeah, I've got one that's not a after party question. We can just wait till the cameras are off.
From that, I'm guaranteed to know
Please.
exactly where you're going with it.
Please
so
keep the cameras
thank you
on.
all. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us as we discussed our thoughts and our
He's like, wait, I gotta know.
We'll get him
Um,
someday.
and our theories on built-in dragonborn lubrication. Yeah, so that was this episode. Beautiful skies, too many pies. If you have any questions about dragonborn anatomy and all of that, feel free to tweet them at me at cbkclo or email them to me at cbkclo@gmail.com. Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on sweaty lizards. So that's all for us. And we invite you to join us next time on Play Dicely After Party. Goodbye.
Stay sweaty.
Secrete that lubricant.
No more questions. Goodbye.